The hubris of numbers. Supreme Commander Creel stood on the bridge of the Eternal Dominance, flagship of the Zarkonian Empire's 7th Invasion Fleet. His scaled skin shimmered under the blue light of the tactical displays, 4 eyes methodically scanning the holographic representation of the small blue-green planet ahead. Earth, the humans called it. Just another primitive world to add to the ever-expanding Zarkonian domain. "Report," Creel demanded, his voice a low rumble that carried across the bridge. Sub-Commander Vex approached, datapad in hand. "Scans complete, Supreme Commander. Indigenous population, approximately 8.2 billion. Technology level, pre-warp, primarily fossil fuel dependent with rudimentary nuclear capabilities. Military assets, negligible. Orbital defenses, minimal satellites, no weapons platforms detected." Creel's mouth curled into what passed for a smile among his species. His 6-fingered hand brushed across the projected image of Earth, zooming in on the landmasses and oceans. "And their communications. Primitive, Supreme Commander. Radio waves, digital signals confined to their planet and immediate orbital space. We've intercepted and translated enough to understand their major languages and defense capabilities," Vex replied. The bridge crew worked silently around them, the massive invasion fleet of 10,000 warships holding position just beyond the orbit of the planet's natural satellite. The humans hadn't detected them yet. Zarkonian cloaking technology was far beyond what these primitives could perceive. "Have they achieved unity?" Creel asked, always thorough in his pre-invasion assessment. "No, Supreme Commander. They remain divided into nation-states, approximately 195 distinct political entities. Their military forces are not unified under a central command." Creel made a dismissive gesture. "Perfect. They'll fall within days. Prepare the standard invasion protocol. Simultaneous strikes on their 20 largest population centers. I want their leadership structures decapitated within the first hour." "As you command," Vex acknowledged, turning to relay the orders. Commander Zish, Creel's tactical advisor, approached. "Supreme Commander, if I may. There's something unusual in the data." "Speak," Creel permitted, annoyed at the interruption of what should be a routine conquest. "Their technological development is inconsistent. While their space technology appears primitive, their computational systems show surprising sophistication. And there are energy readings from several locations that don't match any known power source we've encountered before." Creel's secondary eyelids flickered, a sign of mild interest. "Elaborate." "We can't identify the mechanism, but several facilities on their planet are generating energy signatures that fluctuate in patterns we can't explain. They don't match fusion, fission, or any conventional power source in our database." "Could they be weapons?" Creel asked, his interest growing. "Unknown, but they don't match any weapons profile we've encountered in 12 centuries of conquest." Creel considered this information briefly. "Maintain the invasion timeline. Whatever these anomalies are, they won't stand against 10,000 warships. But add these facilities to the primary target list. I want them neutralized in the first wave." "Yes, Supreme Commander." The Zarkonian fleet began its final preparations. Creel had led 17 successful planetary invasions during his 3-century career. Earth would be his 18th, a minor footnote in the glorious expansion of the Zarkonian Empire. Dr. Eleanor Wright stared at her monitor in the underground facility beneath the Nevada desert, her heart racing. The anomaly had appeared less than 30 minutes ago. Massive distortions in the gravitational field at the edge of the lunar orbit. "Are we sure this isn't a sensor malfunction?" she asked, though she already knew the answer. General Harris stood behind her, his weathered face grim in the blue light of the screens. "It's been confirmed by 3 separate systems. Something big is out there, and it's not natural." Eleanor nodded, her fingers flying across the keyboard. "I'm bringing the Prometheus array online." Across the room, dozens of technicians and scientists worked with focused intensity. They had trained for this moment for years, though most had never truly believed it would come. "How long until they're fully operational?" the general asked. 15 minutes for the detection grid, 30 for the defense network, Eleanor replied. And the Prometheus protocol itself? Eleanor paused, looking up at him. That's untested technology, General. We don't know what will happen if we activate the full protocol. Let's hope we don't need to find out, Harris said, turning to his communications officer. Alert all Prometheus sites worldwide. Authentication code Omega-7 Delta. This is not a drill. As the message went out, Eleanor returned to her work. The Prometheus project had been humanity's greatest secret for almost 15 years. A joint international effort born from a scientific breakthrough that had changed everything they thought they knew about physics and reality itself. The alien fleet would be expecting Stone Age spears compared to their technology. They were about to discover that humanity had been keeping secrets. Creel watched with satisfaction as the invasion fleet decloaked and accelerated toward Earth. The humans would have minutes to react, time enough to experience fear before their civilization was brought to heel. Signal detected. A sensor operator called out suddenly. The humans are broadcasting on all frequencies. Let me hear it, Creel ordered. A voice, translated by their systems, filled the bridge. Attention unknown vessels. This is Earth Unified Defense Command. You have entered restricted space. Reverse course immediately, or we will be forced to take defensive action. Laughter rippled across the bridge. Earth Unified Defense Command. Their intelligence showed no such organization existed. A bluff, Vex said dismissively. They're trying to appear more organized than they are. No matter, Creel replied. Send the standard conquest message. Inform them of their imminent subjugation and the futility of resistance. As the message was transmitted, Creel turned his attention back to the tactical display. The first wave -2,000 warships was moving into position to begin the bombardment of Earth's major cities. Supreme Commander, the sensor operator called out, alarm in his voice. Energy spike from the planet's surface. Before Creel could respond, brilliant beams of blue-white light erupted from multiple points on Earth's surface. They sliced through space with impossible speed, connecting with the leading edge of the Zarkonian fleet. Impossible, Creel whispered as the first dozen warships simply disappeared. Not exploded, not destroyed in any conventional sense. They simply ceased to exist where the beams touched them, leaving behind nothing but dissipating energy. All ships, evasive maneuvers, he roared. Activate defensive shields at maximum power. The bridge erupted into chaos as more beams lanced upward from Earth, each one finding its mark with unerring precision. The shields of the Zarkonian warships, technology that had withstood the weapons of 100 conquered civilizations, failed instantly against whatever this was. What are they using? Creel demanded, slamming his fist on the console. Analyze those weapons. Commander Zish worked frantically at his station. The energy signature doesn't match anything in our database. It's as if the beams are creating localized disruptions in the fabric of space-time itself. More ships vanished, erased from existence by the impossible weapons. Creel watched in growing horror as his invasion force, the pride of the Zarkonian Empire, was systematically reduced. Launch all fighters, he ordered. Begin the bombardment immediately. Target those energy sources. 5,000 Zarkonian fighters poured from the carrier ships, their engines flaring as they accelerated toward Earth. Simultaneously, the remaining capital ships began charging their main cannons, preparing to rain destruction upon the human world. None of them made it. A shimmering dome of energy suddenly enveloped the planet, extending outward to encompass its moon. The fighters impacted this barrier and simply disappeared, like raindrops striking the hot surface. The powerful energy weapons of the capital ships discharged against it, their destructive power absorbed without effect. This is impossible, Vex whispered, echoing the thoughts of everyone on the bridge. Their technology was supposed to be centuries behind ours. Creel stared at the tactical display in disbelief. Already, nearly a third of his fleet had been neutralized. Whatever the humans possessed, it violated everything the Zarkonians understood about physics and warfare. Supreme Commander, the communications officer called out, "We're receiving a transmission from Earth." "Display it," Creel ordered, his voice hollow. A human appeared on the main screen. Female, middle-aged by their standards, wearing what appeared to be a simple uniform with no ornamentation. "This is Dr. Eleanor Wright of Earth Unified Defense Command," she said calmly. "Your invasion force has been neutralized. We have no desire for war, but we will defend our world. You have 1 hour to withdraw your remaining ships, or we will be forced to eliminate them as well." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. Creel's mind raced through options, strategies, contingencies. None of his training, none of his experience had prepared him for this. The humans shouldn't have this level of technology. It wasn't possible. "Orders, Supreme Commander," Vex asked, his voice trembling slightly. Before Creel could answer, the sensors blared again. The blue-white beams had returned, picking off ships with surgical precision. There was no pattern to the attacks, no way to predict which vessel would be targeted next. "Full retreat," Creel said, the words bitter in his mouth. "Get us out of this system immediately." As the surviving ships of the once mighty invasion fleet scrambled to escape, Creel watched the tactical display with a growing sense of dread. His career was over, his legacy destroyed, and the Zarkonian Empire had just discovered that the galaxy contained threats they were not prepared to face. The humans had changed everything. And Creel would have to explain to the High Council how he had lost an invasion fleet to a species that, by all accounts, should have been defenseless. As the eternal dominance accelerated away from Earth, Creel made a silent vow. He would return. He would learn the secrets of the human weapons. And he would have his revenge. But deep down, a new and unfamiliar emotion stirred within him. Fear. For the first time in his long life, Supreme Commander Creel was afraid of what the future might hold. The weight of consequence. The remnants of the Zarkonian invasion fleet limped through hyperspace, a shattered shadow of its former might. Of the 10,000 warships that had approached Earth with such confidence, barely 800 remained. Supreme Commander Creel sat alone in his private chamber aboard the Eternal Dominance, reviewing the battle footage for the 100th time. Each viewing only deepened his confusion and dread. The human weapons defied explanation. They hadn't destroyed his ships in any conventional sense. No explosions, no disintegration. The vessels simply ceased to exist where the blue-white beams touched them, as if they'd been selectively erased from reality itself. A chime at his door interrupted his brooding. "Enter," he commanded. Commander Zish stepped inside, looking haggard. Like all Zarkonians who had witnessed the catastrophe at Earth, he hadn't slept since their retreat. "Supreme Commander, we've completed the analysis you requested." Creel gestured for him to continue. "We've ruled out any known weapons technology," Zish reported. "Whatever the humans used, it appears to be manipulating fundamental forces of reality in ways our science can't explain. The energy signatures suggest they've somehow harnessed what our theoretical physicists have only hypothesized: manipulation of the quantum field itself." "Impossible," Creel muttered, though he knew better now. No species at their development stage should possess such technology. There must be an explanation. "There is one possibility, Supreme Commander," Zish said hesitantly. "What if they had help?" Creel's 4 eyes narrowed. The Conclave treaties forbid interference with developing worlds. No advanced species would dare violate that agreement. "Unless they found something on Earth worth the risk," Zish suggested. "Or perhaps the humans discovered something independently that allowed them to leapfrog normal technological development." The thought was disturbing. The Zarkonian Empire had risen to dominance through careful, methodical conquest of less advanced worlds. Their technological superiority had always been absolute. If species like humans could suddenly develop weapons that rendered Zarkonian military might irrelevant, the entire galactic order was threatened. "How long until we reach High Command?" Creel asked. 3 standard cycles, Supreme Commander. Creel dismissed Zish with a gesture. 3 cycles to prepare his explanation for the greatest military disaster in Zarkonian history. 3 cycles to contemplate the end of his 3-century career. And somewhere deep in his mind, a troubling question formed. What if the humans decided not to remain on their world? What if they came looking for those who had attacked them? On Earth, celebrations had given way to frantic activity. The successful defense against the alien invasion had united humanity as nothing before, but with unity came the sobering realization that they weren't alone in the galaxy, and not everyone out there was friendly. In the central chamber of the Prometheus Command, representatives from all major nations gathered. The room had been built 15 years earlier when the first breakthroughs in quantum field manipulation had occurred, a discovery so profound it had been immediately classified and shared only among a select group of world leaders and scientists. Dr. Eleanor Wright stood before the assembly, her projection displayed on screens worldwide for those cleared to receive the information. The Prometheus protocol performed beyond our expectations, she reported. The quantum displacement beams eliminated the alien vessels with perfect efficiency, and the planetary shield absorbed their counterattack without strain. General Harris stood beside her. However, we allowed approximately 800 enemy ships to retreat deliberately. We needed survivors to carry the message back to wherever they came from. And what message is that? Asked the representative from India. Eleanor's expression was solemn. That Earth is not defenseless. That attacking us would be a costly mistake. But we've revealed our greatest technological secret, objected the Chinese delegate. The Prometheus protocol was supposed to remain hidden until we were ready to expand beyond our solar system. Circumstances change, Eleanor replied simply. When 10,000 alien warships appear in our orbit, secrecy becomes secondary to survival. The assembly fell silent as they contemplated this new reality. For 15 years, the world's greatest minds had worked in secret on the implications of the quantum field discovery, a breakthrough that had occurred when experiments at CERN had produced unexpected results. What they found had revolutionized humanity's understanding of physics, energy, and the nature of reality itself. What happens now? Asked the Brazilian representative. General Harris stepped forward. We accelerate the Prometheus initiative. The defensive phase was successful, but we always knew this day might come. It's time to implement Phase 2. Murmurs spread through the assembly. Phase 2 had been theoretical until now. The development of spacecraft utilizing quantum field technology, capable of traveling faster than light without the limitations of conventional physics. How soon can we have a fleet ready? Asked the American president. The prototype vessel is already complete, Eleanor replied. We can have 10 quantum ships operational within 6 months, 100 within 2 years. And their capabilities. Eleanor exchanged glances with General Harris before answering. Based on what we observed of the alien technology, our vessels will be significantly more advanced. Their weapons couldn't penetrate our defensive shield, while our quantum displacement beams neutralized their ships instantly. The assembly processed this information in stunned silence. After centuries of looking to the stars and wondering if humanity would ever reach them, they were suddenly poised to emerge as a major power. We should proceed with caution, advised the Japanese representative. We don't know how many species are out there or how advanced they might be. Agreed, Eleanor said. But we also can't assume that these invaders were the worst the galaxy has to offer. We need to be prepared. As the meeting continued, Eleanor's thoughts drifted to the stars visible beyond the chamber's transparent ceiling. Humanity had been given a harsh introduction to galactic society, but perhaps that was a blessing in disguise. They'd been forced to reveal their greatest technological achievement, but in doing so, they'd announced their presence to the cosmos in the most emphatic way possible. The question now was how the galaxy would respond. The High Council chamber of the Zarkonian Empire fell into shocked silence as Supreme Commander Creel finished his report. 15 of the Empire's highest-ranking officials stared at him in disbelief, their scaled skin reflecting the dim blue light of the chamber. 10,000 ships, High Counselor Drac finally said, his voice barely above a whisper. Our most powerful invasion fleet, nearly annihilated by a pre-warp civilization. I witnessed it personally, Creel replied, his voice hollow. Their weapons, they defy our understanding of physics. They didn't destroy our ships, they removed them from existence. Impossible. Another counselor shouted. No species at their development stage could possess such technology. The evidence is before you, Creel said, gesturing to the holographic display showing footage of the battle. 800 ships returned from a fleet of 10,000. These are facts, not interpretations. High Commander Vorn, supreme military leader of the Empire, leaned forward. In 12,000 cycles of Zarkonian history, we have never encountered anything like this. Even the Ultharian Collective, with their superior technology, couldn't defeat us so thoroughly. What do these humans want? Asked Counselor Zeph. Have they made demands? Threatened retaliation? Creel shook his head. They only demanded our withdrawal. They claimed to have no desire for war. Yet they possessed weapons that could have destroyed our entire fleet. Vorn noted. They showed restraint. Why? The question hung in the air, uncomfortable and threatening. A species with the power to annihilate 10,000 warships had chosen mercy, or perhaps it was strategy. Either possibility was disturbing to the Zarkonian mindset. We must learn more about these humans, High Counselor Drac declared. Send stealth observers to their system. No hostile actions, no contact, just observation. And if they detect our observers? Creel asked. Their sensor technology clearly exceeds our expectations. Then we will have confirmation that they are truly as advanced as they appear, Drac replied grimly. In the meantime, we recall all invasion fleets. All conquest operations are suspended until we better understand this threat. Protests erupted around the chamber. The Zarkonian Empire had expanded continuously for millennia. The conquest of lesser species was integral to their identity, their economy, their way of life. Silence. Drac roared, rising to his impressive height. Would you risk more fleets against weapons we cannot counter? Would you endanger the Empire itself through pride and tradition? The chamber quieted, though tension remained thick in the air. Supreme Commander Creel, Drac continued, despite this catastrophic defeat, your decision to retreat preserved some of our forces and brought us vital intelligence. You will lead the observation mission personally. Select 3 of our most advanced stealth vessels. Learn everything you can about these humans and their technology. Creel bowed deeply, surprised to be given any command after such a defeat. I will not fail the Empire again, High Counselor. As the council session concluded, Creel found himself approached by Ishara, the Empire's chief scientist and the only member of the High Council not from a military background. Commander, she said quietly, there is something you should know before you return to Earth. What is it, Counselor? Ishara's eyes darted around, ensuring they weren't overheard. The weapons you described, the erasing effect. It matches theoretical work our most advanced physicists have been pursuing for centuries. We call it quantum field manipulation. Creel's hearts quickened. You're familiar with this technology. Only in theory, Ishara clarified. We've never been able to harness it practically. The energy requirements are astronomical, the computational complexity beyond our capabilities. Yet the humans managed it, Creel said bitterly. Yes, and that's what troubles me, Ishara replied. Either they've made a breakthrough that has eluded our greatest minds, or what? Or they've had help, Ishara finished. There are rumors of species beyond the known regions who possess technology that might as well be magic to us. Perhaps the humans encountered such beings. The implication was clear and terrifying. If humans had allied with some unknown, super-advanced species, the threat to the Zarkonian Empire was far greater than a single defended world. I will discover the truth, Creel promised. 3 months after the failed invasion, A small Zarkonian stealth vessel hovered at the edge of the Sol system, its advanced cloaking technology masking it from conventional detection methods. Supreme Commander Creel, now Mission Director Creel, observed the incoming sensor data with growing concern. They've established bases on their moon, on Mars, and on several of the larger asteroids, reported the sensor officer. All within just 3 months. And the energy readings? Creel asked. Consistent with what we observed during the battle, they appear to be installing their quantum field technology throughout their system. Creel studied the holographic representation of a human vessel under construction in Earth orbit. It was unlike any ship design he had ever seen, more elegant than functional, with no visible weapons emplacements or engine exhausts. Their first interstellar vessel, the analyst beside him commented. Based on our observations of their quantum field technology, it will likely be capable of speeds far exceeding our fastest ships. How soon will it be operational? Weeks, not months. Creel absorbed this information grimly. The humans weren't just defending their world, they were preparing to venture beyond it, armed with technology that had decimated the most powerful fleet in known space. We've also intercepted and translated numerous communications, the intelligence officer reported. They're unified now in a way they weren't before our arrival. The attack seems to have eliminated most of their internal conflicts. We gave them a common enemy, Creel observed bitterly. There's more, the officer continued. They're discussing something called the Prometheus Initiative. Phase 1 appears to have been their defensive technology. Phase 2 involves exploration and expansion. But there's also mention of a Phase 3 that's heavily encrypted. Speculation. Unknown, but the security around it suggests something significant. Possibly offensive capabilities beyond what they've demonstrated. Creel stared at the image of Earth rotating slowly in the holographic display. Such a small world to have changed the course of galactic history. For the first time in thousands of years, the Zarkonian Empire had been forced to retreat, to reconsider its path of endless conquest. We've seen enough, he decided. Prepare to return to High Command. As the stealth vessel began its careful withdrawal from the system, Creel composed his report in his mind. The High Council needed to understand the full implications of what they faced. The humans weren't just another species to be conquered. They represented a fundamental shift in the balance of power. And deep within him, alongside the fear and lingering shame of defeat, another emotion had taken root: respect. The humans had done what no species had accomplished in millennia. They had stopped the Zarkonian advance. More than that, they had shown restraint when they could have annihilated their attackers completely. Perhaps there was something to learn from them, if the Empire could overcome its pride long enough to listen. 1 year after the failed invasion, the first human quantum ship, Prometheus, emerged from Earth orbit. Its sleek design belied the revolutionary technology within. Engines that bent space rather than pushing against it, shields that could withstand forces that would destroy conventional matter, and sensors that could perceive reality at levels previously thought impossible. On its bridge, Captain Maya Rodriguez surveyed her crew, scientists and soldiers representing every nation on Earth, united in this historic mission. "Status report," she ordered. "All systems nominal, Captain," replied her executive officer. "Quantum drive charged and ready." Maya nodded, then opened a channel to Earth Command. "Prometheus to Command. We are prepared for departure." General Harris's voice came through clearly. "You are cleared for launch, Prometheus. Your mission is exploration, not confrontation. Remember, we now know we're not alone in this galaxy, and not everyone out there is friendly." "Understood, Command. We'll be careful." Dr. Eleanor Wright's voice joined the conversation. "The technology you carry represents humanity's greatest achievement, Captain. Use it wisely." "We will," Maya promised. "We're not looking for war, but we won't hide on our world any longer." As the communication ended, Maya turned to her navigation officer. "Set course for the Zarkonian Empire. Let's introduce ourselves properly this time." The Prometheus accelerated silently, its quantum drive creating a bubble of altered space around the ship. In an instant, Earth vanished behind them, as they slipped between the fabric of conventional spacetime. Humanity had taken its first step into a larger universe, not as conquerors like the Zarkonians, but as explorers protected by technology that had transformed them overnight from potential victims to a force that could not be ignored. And across the galaxy, countless species would soon learn that the isolated blue world at the edge of an unremarkable spiral arm harbored beings who had unlocked the fundamental secrets of reality itself. Beings who had been pushed to reveal their true potential by those who had mistaken their solitude for weakness. They had outnumbered humanity 100 to 1. It hadn't mattered.